hair is a mess like this, so I'm gonna just put on my hat, signature hat, to be a little more professional. Okay. In this video, I would like to talk about, a little bit more about a different sides of wa and ga in Japanese. Do you remember I said, if you don't want to emphasize wa or ga, you don't have to say it. You don't have to say wa or ga at all. That's what I said in my video. So I'm gonna elaborate a little bit more on that. If you learn from a textbook, you probably wanna you might have this urge to say wa or ga, like 하루만 와今何やってますか? 하루만 와今何やってますか? The moment you say wa, it sounds like a foreigner, or it sounds like a textbook speaking. Because in real life, in this situation, people won't say even wa or ga at all. ねえねえねえ、하루만今何やってんの? The moment you say wa, it sounds like non-Japanese people speaking. Okay, so it's more. So the natural speaking is more like ねえねえねえ、하루만何やってた? 하루만何やってました? Or 하루만さん何やってました? In many cases, you just want to state the fact. You don't really want to emphasize, wa and ga, right? You just want to say the fact, like, let's see, for example, you want to say, hey, you know what? I lifted 300 pounds yesterday. Okay, that's a fact. Maybe you're emphasizing, not this guy, not that guy, but me. I lifted 300 pounds, but I guess in many cases, you're probably not really emphasizing that either. You probably want to just say, I lifted 300 pounds, yay! So in that case, ねえねえねえ、昨日俺300ポンドあげたよ. You don't say, 昨日俺が300ポンドあげたよ. 昨日俺は300ポンドあげたよ. The moment you say that, especially wa, you sound like a foreigner saying something a little bit wrong or weird, because when you're not in a situation, in many other similar situations, you're not really emphasizing anything. You just want to state the fact. I lifted 300 pounds yesterday, yay! So just like English, don't worry about wa and ga. Let's say you just want to say, you're talking to your friend and you just want to say, I went shopping yesterday, and in Japanese you say, hey, ねえねえ、昨日買い物行ったんだけどさ、昨日俺買い物行ったんだけどさ、昨日僕買い物行ったんだけどさ、昨日私買い物行ったのよ。Something like that, You don't say, 昨日僕は買い物行ったんだけど、昨日僕が買い物行ったんだけど。You don't say wa and ga, 昨日俺が買い物行ったんだけど、昨日俺は買い物行ったんだけど。The moment you say that, you're actually implying, what wa or ga entails, and you don't want to do that, because it adds some extra meaning, and that's not what you want to do. You just want to state the fact that you went shopping yesterday. Is it true that she quit the job?彼仕事辞めたんだって? You don't say, hey, 彼は仕事辞めたんだって? 彼が仕事辞めたんだって? Maybe you want to imply something, but if you just want to state the fact that he quit the job, it's more natural. It sounds more natural not to say wa and ga, So, you know what? David quit the job yesterday. in Japanese it's like ねえねえ知ってるデイビッド昨日仕事辞めたんだって。 You don't say ねえ知ってるデイビッドが昨日仕事辞めたんだって。 You don't say デイビッドが昨日仕事がYou could probably say ga, but you know, in many cases, you know, if you just want to state the fact, you don't say wa and ga, and so don't be stuck with this wa and ga, you know, dichotomy. You know, you don't want to be too frustrated and stressed about it, you know, because you know. In many cases, people don't even say wa and ga. I would say more than half the time, maybe 80% of the time, people are not saying wa and ga at all. So don't be stuck with this wa and ga difficulties. You know, of course you want to be able to use them correctly. That's why I made a video about it. You know, but in many cases, you know, there are more other things that you want to learn. You know. For example, you don't say wa or ga. Hey, where's Haruman? Where's Haruman? I'm looking for him. Where is he? You know. And someone says, Haruman's in his office, of course, dumbass. You know. And so, in that situation, you instead of trying to decide which one to use, wa? Should I say wa? Haruman wa office ni imasu, or Haruman ga office ni imasu? Haruman office ni yo? Haruman ga office ni yo? Instead of, you know, being stressed about deciding which, you know, particle to use, you know, you just say, oh, Haruman office ni da yo. Haruman office ni yo. Haruman, but actually, you know, so you don't have to say wa or ga, but native speakers tend to use something else and learn something else. Sometimes it makes more natural, you know, not saying wa or ga can make it more natural. Using something else instead of wa or ga, that could make it more natural, even more natural. For example, where was Haruman? Haruman どこにいるんだよ? Haruman どこにいるの? And he said, oh, I know, he's in his office. And oh, 知ってるよ。Haruman ならオフィスにいるよ。I said nara, you know. I didn't say wa, I didn't say ga, I said nara, you know. There are, you know, little words like that, you know, little words, many words like that, you know, nara, gasa, you know. Hey, you know, yesterday, you know, Haruman farted in the gym, you know, for example, something like that. And you don't say, 昨日さ、ハドマンはジムでおならしたよ。昨日ハドマンがジムでおならしたよ。You know, you don't hear them very often, so it sounds weird. What they use is like, ハドマンがさ、people might say, 昨日ハドマンがさ、ジムでおならしたんだよ。I say がさ、ハドマンがさ、instead of ハドマンが or ハドマンは、ハドマン just ハドマン。I said がさ、ハドマンがさ、you know. So there are, you know, those alternative particles, or not particles, but alternative, you know, words, you know, people use, and those alternative tend to be more common, you know, in speaking. Wa and ga, I think, you know, they are for emphasizing certain meanings. So, you know, if you don't really want to emphasize anything, you know, don't be stressed about it and don't use them, and just say a sentence without wa and ga, you know, and eventually you might learn alternatives like, you know, nara, ga sa, haruman nara, haruman ga sa, haruman no yatsu, haruman te sa, something like that. Haruman sa, haruman. You know, anyway, you know, saying wa or ga, you know, people don't really do that in many situations. So bottom line is it's important to know what and ga implies, entails, and use them appropriately when you really want to emphasize that, So that's why it's really important to know, when to use wa and when to use ga, but when you don't have to emphasize that, just don't say wa and ga, And there are alternatives that you might want to use, actually, as I mentioned earlier, and you can pick up those expressions from drama, anime, and TV shows. Eventually, I might feature those expressions, but for now, remember, you don't really have to worry about wa and ga. In many cases, people are not going to even say wa and ga, and but if you really want to emphasize or distinguish certain things, then be sure to use them. But otherwise, just want to state the fact, you can get by. Actually, it's many cases it's better not to say wa and ga. So don't be too stressed about it.